What's up, gamer gang? This is Tixatsi, and we have hit 100 on hardcore. And as promised, now we are going to release my build guides. The reason that I took some time to do this is because I wanted a step-by-step kind of take on this, because I know that if I just gave my in-game Paragon board, that it's a little bit overwhelming and people might not plan it out the right way. That way they get the most damage as fast as possible. So what we're going to do is start here at the beginning, a very basic guide, and I'm going to release each one of these in their own separate links. That way you can look at each one depending on where you are in the game already and what aspects you have unlocked, what skills you have unlocked. The reasons that we take some of the things we do early on, like if you don't have splintering aspect, I suggest using the supernatural BoneSpear for vulnerability against bosses and elites. But then over here in the notes, again, this is why we have stuff like this. You're going to take aspect stuff depending on what you need at the time. Now, for the beginner guide, it's a pretty straight line, and it gives you an idea of why we go this direction. The first glyph that we take is going to be Gravekeeper, and we're going to level it up because it'll give us the most bonuses early on when it hits level 15, because we won't have to spend a lot of extra points just to get to that. So most of it's a pretty straight line. What I suggest is coming here first. You're going to take your Bone Graft node and then come right over and get your Essence on Kill. And this is the part where I started doing a lot of Nightmare Sigils after I got this Essence on Kill, because quality of life is extreme, and we basically never run out of essence at this point once you have the right aspects as well as getting these nodes, because you'll start to literally one-shot everything. And we come up here, we just take damage, we come straight up, take more damage, and then this is where we get our first board, which is Scent of Death. And we take it, we actually don't have to flip this board, I'm pretty sure it just stays this way. And we get the damage nodes, damage to healthy. Again, we're one-shotting things, so we just want the most damage from that first hit. More damage when we're not near corpses. We don't consume corpses or use corpses, so there's sub corpses on the ground. If you need the damage reduction, it's there, but we're also playing at a distant because we're playing a caster build. And we go into crit damage, we come over here, and this is where we get our damage to injured, some more critical strike damage, and then into our damage to elites. Now this is why leveling Gravekeeper a little bit early on is nice, because once you get here, you'll have this boost. And this is where the kind of the end of the starter guild build stops here, because we respec at this point. We actually move this board here and take it second as you're leveling. That way you have this passive bonus for another additional 16% damage to elites. Unless you already have this leveled up to 15, then it'll be even higher. And that's because it takes less dexterity in your second board than it would in your third. So we're going to come back and show that real quick. When we respec, this is also obviously when you'll be in T3, and you'll have stuff like Deathless Visage. The items change just a little bit, and some of the aspects. The skill tree should reflect again that we have things like splintering by this point. We should have it, before we even get into tier 3. But so the big change again is in the Paragon board. So we actually come up and take this board second, and then we come down and take this board third. This is again where our Scent of Death now is. And instead this is where our Gravekeeper will go. So once you come down and out, you can actually connect here and remove some of these points. It'll save you a few nodes just so that you can have this extra connection, and then you can drop in your essence and start filling out this board. We do come here first. That way, again, we're playing hardcore. We want the extra damage percent as well as the damage reduction. And you don't necessarily have to start filling out in Bibber, which is what we take here because there's a lot of willpower in this area. But you can take the ones that are right off the line. You'll see how this changes just a little bit in the last and final Paragon board. But again, we'll come up here and actually take Bloodbath as our third or fourth board, which will again change at the end once you have even more Paragon points to spare. But you'll come up here and fill this out. Some of this can change just slightly, but it doesn't matter. Like if you wanted to look a little bit different, these points. But this is the general guide once you hit around level 70, if you have all your altars done and all of the renown done. So then we come into the last board. This is the 90+ area where you'll have everything filled out. We take a few different uniques here. Skill tree stays exactly the same, and then this is what my final board looks like. The main changes here, again, we respec out of Bloodbath and put it in Wither here. That way we can take Control. Control is going to be a massive damage spike to enemies that you decrepify or use corpse tendrils on. And there's a lot of intelligence nodes here, and then we move down into taking a Bloodbath. Now, when I level this as well, I don't fill all these extra points out. I did come down, come across, put in Control, down again and out. I didn't fill in all the extra points. You come down and you get Exploit first and fill out a lot of this before you fill out any of these extra nodes for the control damage. And that's why generally, I think it was around like level 80 or 88 or so, where we saved points and then respect. That way we could fill most of this out and then come back and do this. Because this is kind of like neutral damage that you don't need until late game once you're pushing past like T70. And you'll still be one-shotting basically everything. And before we even do control, we actually come in and do Embibber first, because we'll always stay healthy. We take barriers so that we never lose life. We also use two-handed scythes, so we have life on kill even when we do lose a little bit of life. We like to stay healthy. So these are my boards. These are the skill tree that I used for the character that I played and getting to 100 on hardcore. We've had a couple of showcase videos that have really inspired some people. People have been stopping by the stream at Twitch, and I have had time now that we've hit 100 to make this guide, make a few build guides to put out there, and I hope it really helps some of you guys kind of see the difference that you can do in the game and the different lines that you can take for your Paragon board, so you have more damage spikes very early on, and it helps you get to the end game and be able to push those high-end content much easier. I appreciate you guys coming by and liking my stuff and commenting and coming by my stream and asking questions. I've really very much appreciated all the content, all the community that we've built from this, and I hope to see you guys around. If you have any questions about the boards, if something doesn't make sense, feel free to come in and talk about it. We just ended up talking for a couple of hours about different things that you could take. Something I'll say is that don't treat these boards and don't treat these skills like it's finalized, right? It's the way that I play. It's the way that I've enjoyed the game and that we've done a lot of high-end content as well as just had success at getting to 100. And some things may not be right, I've seen how people laid out Paragon boards where they go to the glyphs first. That to me is not the best thing to do. You won't scale well that way early on. It's something that's like very late. And these can be rearranged once you hit 100 if you really wanted to. You can switch out different glyphs if you really wanted to. But this was the build that I made pre-launch, and it was extremely successful. It does ridiculous amounts of damage and has very well some pretty good survivability. We do play kind of a cast class. We play like a Sork. We play very far back. We take dodge boots. That way we have extra dodges, extra evades. We play like a chicken sometimes, but guess what, man? When we hit 4 to 5 million BoneSpears, everything melts. So I hope this build guide helps some of you guys. And if you have any questions, again, I'll be at twitch.tv/Tixatsi. And thank you guys. I really appreciate all the support that I've gotten from these videos and my streams. Hope you all have a good time and stay safe out there.